Hey yo, what's good? What's going on, everyone? Hey, everywhere, welcome back to another video, man. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, share the video, and all the other good stuff. Now, look, I got a little, I don't even know the right word to use right now, but I got a little thing to put out here for the people, right? Especially in reference to the liking, the commenting, and subscribing. Now, I'm all good with constructive criticism. It's cool. Let me know if there's somewhere I can improve. So that's why I took this as, right? Constructive criticism, but it's not in the best light or in the best fashion, if you will, right? Now, if you haven't seen already, it's been doing pretty well, especially for someone of my stature so far on YouTube. Got like 2K views, doing pretty well as a video. Oathkeeper build paired with the Oathkeepers, you know, keeper build essentially. It's pretty good. I'm gonna even go over why they use Foetracer in this particular video here. When people were talking about I didn't fully draw the Wish Ender, and what about the Wish Ender compared to this, even though I showed a brief demonstration of it. We're gonna get all into that in this particular video right here. We're gonna start off with the Wish Ender versus Oathkeeper. Then I'm going to why I use Oathkeepers over something like Foetracer. Alright, so without further ado, let's hop into it. Now, most people are saying one thing in particular. Oh, hey, Trey, you're not using or fully drawing the Wish Ender. Huh. When they mean fully drawn, I'm assuming you mean like that, right? I think you mean like you fully draw it, you let the embrace, you let the brace fully go off, and you just call it a day, right? That's what y'all are meaning, right? Fully drawing it. You see how impractical this is? And it's a faster bow. See how unpractical this crap is? I'm not even always fully drawing it, but it pretty much is being fully drawn each time. It's just bad, man. Like that's not always a thing to do. Now, if you're saying doing the new Nightfall, right, and you're like going behind cover, and you're like, oh, okay, cool. Let me draw that. Let me do this. Let me do that. Oh, wow, I'm doing so much work, right? You're gonna get some use out of it. Like I'm waiting for the next ad to pop around the corner. Now I'm charging this up. So of course I'm getting use out of this. But just sitting here fully drawing each and every shot is absolutely ridiculous to do. Even as an idea. I don't know who thought that was a good idea. Like the testing has been done multiple times over. I'm about to die here, but it's okay. Testing has been done for the Oathkeepers and its exotic trait, exotic perk, whatever you want to call it, a while back when it got its initial rework. Now, what was the rework? Oh, hey, this Oathkeepers does scale with Surge mods. Oh, hey, but it does not scale with the Leviathan's Breath. Oh, hey, this is good for total damage, but not good for DPS. Now, it can do a slight improvement to DPS than just using the regular bow for any bow, Wish Ender included. I don't know why that's a point of contention for some people. So I'll even show you. Now, we already kind of went over. This can hit about 80,000. If you get search mods and stuff with it, it can definitely go with 90,000, even probably in the 100,000s, right? Depending on how many surge mods you have paired with it. Because if you put like, you know, like the 22% multiplier and all that to 81,000 base with the fully drawn and all that, then you can see you can definitely almost get to that 100k range. Now, what does Wish Ender hit with a fully drawn out? Wish Ender, first of all, fully drawn, right? You see only one tick. Now, granted, it does split into 3, but more than likely for most ads, for most enemies, you're not hitting all 3. Especially on lower body styles or body types, whatever you want to call it. Now, see something like that was a little bit bigger, you can hit 3. But it's also an angle thing, because let's say you do what is it, Lake of Shadows Nightfall, and you're all the way up top, you know, the little thing at the last boss, right? You're more likely not hitting all 3 of your wish ender shots into the boss's head each and every single time. You may hit 1 to 2. So you can count that as potential damage, but it's not always going to be the total damage. Look, I'm hitting headshots. I'll even try to hit a body shot on that. Oh, look, did some nice damage. All right, cool. Let's keep waiting. Like, it's very impractical to do, as opposed to this bow, which can allow you, since it has a faster draw time, which I emphasized in the previous video, it's going to allow you to utilize the Oathkeeper perk faster, to its fullest extent, quicker than something like Wish Ender will. And because you only really hit 1 to maybe 2 of your shots on most enemies in the game, you're going to be able to do more damage than the Wish Ender for most things. On top of the fact that it's still a nice synergy, being that it is Strand. We have seasonal artifact mods that allow us to get unraveling rounds, allow us to spawn more tangles and threadlings because of this. Because if you don't know how you get a tangle, when you unravel an enemy, it unravel targets unwind into tangle. So there's that. You can sit here and do the overpower stuff. You can sit here and have this going off, so a final blow can spawn a threadling. Plus, if you do hatchling on this weapon, plus a seasonal artifact mod or the horde shuttle, you can have 3 threadlings coming off of 1 enemy for that kill. Now, how do I know this, even though that mod is not currently out yet? Because you can currently have 2 threadlings come off of 1 kill currently. Okay, so the fact that you have 2 means that you can definitely have 3. And I've already seen it on another weapon too. I did hatchling with that weapon, so there's that. But yeah, I want to go ahead and just put that out there right quick. Clarify that for those who commented, those who needed help understanding, whatever the case may be, you can hit pretty hard. And for those that you kind of saw that, like 100k and 240ks, that was the explosion. Now, what are you actually going to hit with Wish Ender? In its base form, no surge mod, just like Oathkeeper base form, no surge mod, like 81,000, I think. Fully drawn Wish Ender will hit about 100,000. Now, mind you, it's a slower draw time, so it will take a little bit longer to get there, but it's going to hit around 100,000, okay? The 100,000 is not the exact number, but it's pretty much in that ballpark of 100,000 per shot. Now, that's very good, fantastic even. But you're not getting the full utility of it being paired with the whole build. That's the point of the build. It's not just the weapon, not just one synergy, but multiple synergies stacked on top of each other with the Oathkeeper. That's what I was emphasizing in the build. I don't know how much clearer I can get with this, pretty much, right? Now, something else I want to go over, right? I don't know if you need to go over this anymore, because I want to get to the Oathkeeper versus the Foetracer, right? And why I chose Oathkeepers over Foetracer. Now, I will say one last thing to touch on the Wish Ender versus Oathkeeper is going to be Oathkeeper can also become a anti-barrier weapon via unraveling rounds. Because if you look right here, barrier, right? Unraveling weapon rounds. Now, how do we get unraveling rounds? Now, we can go in our subclass, maybe change out one of our free perks here to maybe something like Thread of Propagation. So when we get a power melee blow, we can throw out our little knife here. What is this called? Our Threaded Spike. We can then get unraveling rounds. We already have Threaded Continuity, so we can keep unraveling rounds for a longer duration. It's good little synergy you can do there. Okay. Now we can even build into that more with possibly forgoing the woven mail for a little survivability and favor that in terms of damage. So when we deal damage with our Tangle. Since we do have Whirling Maelstrom, we're going to be able to quickly get our melee energy back. We can also do something like Gamer's Dodge, get the melee back to reproc our Unraveling Rounds with Threaded Propagation. You see how the synergy is there still nonetheless. And that will allow us to do anti-barrier champions. Very similar to Wish Hinder. And if you hold it long enough, you will one-shot the shield as well. I tried it. Okay? Now, something else you'll have to do if you want an anti-barrier, you have to take off the Unstoppable Bow artifact artifact mod for this season. Now, if you want the Unstoppable Bow to deal with Unstoppable Champion, by all means go ahead. Keep in mind too, you have Suspend with this bow that's built in, which will stop every champion. Even though it doesn't always say for all of them, but Suspend pretty much will stop all. Okay, it will stop the barrier from putting the barrier up. It stops the Unstoppable Champion, and it will briefly unstop an Overload Champion. Like, it's just ultimate thing. Suspend. So I want to go ahead and go over that. Now on to our next point. Let's just switch off of this, put on the Foetracer. It don't really matter what we have on. It don't really matter about our stats right now, because we're just worried about the Foetracer itself. Okay. Now, one thing we're going to do is pretty much test this out as is, right? Now, mind you, doing about 20,000 on the head. We're not hitting as much, and see, even holding it down, that I would have got the damage buff from the Oathkeepers. I'm not getting that. It's pretty much about 20,000. You can still one-shot most red bar enemies. 20,000 is a lot. Yeah. Now the thing that's really gonna take this up to the next level is when you go ahead and do something like that. Now that I got the strand weapon times 4. I got 14 there. 26,000. 26,000. I mean, the bow itself is still putting in work. As you see, 21,000. Cause I got armor. I have armor charges at the moment. Oh my goodness, yo, stop hitting me. But as you kind of see, we're not hitting as hard, as nearly as hard, especially consistently. Before, even though we were kind of dramatizing how long we will wait, it doesn't necessarily take that long. Especially with a faster draw speed. Now that's 40,000. Now we're pretty much getting half the damage that we would have if we fully, you know, drew for the Arthurs and not Arthur, and whatever, the Embrace one. I don't know why that word is so difficult for me to say right now. But the brace of the Oathkeepers will clearly give us more damage, right? Especially per shot, especially if we're taking our time, really, you know, going through everything. Now, I know I dramatized a little bit of the Wish Ender, but just that little bit of it taking longer does kind of add up, and you will feel the difference here and there, okay? Now, and we can't even one-shot like these yellow bar enemies. Now, granted, we didn't have to in that because the synergy of just the bow itself is fantastic. But I will say, if we do something like that, like, it still does good damage, but you're gonna be stuck at like 20, what is it, the 26,000 or something like that. I was able to get to 28,000 before, and I think that was like with one armor charge. Like, it's okay, but you're not getting that full damage like you want. And most of the time, even a partial of the damage does more than Foetracer is about to give you, just because the Oathkeepers, I think it's like 100 times buff to bows. I'm not sure on that, don't quote me at the moment. I used to know the actual damage value for it. I don't remember off the top of my head currently. But this one, you already know, it gives you times 4 weapon surge. It's good. By all means, it is good. And if you are going to pair it with, I would say, a heavy weapon, Foetracer is still something definitely to do. Something else that it can help you with is creating tangles for you. That's the creates elemental pickups for that. is very, very good in that regard as well. So you can definitely get use of the Foetracer in multiple sense, because this strand bow paired with strand heavy, something like a bait and switch cataphract, maybe like the one, what is it, the semi collagen or something like that, rocket launcher, the one from last season, you can craft, especially with explosive light, impulse amplifier. I like it with that roll. It's pretty good. It reloads very quickly and it strands some synergy. But yeah, nonetheless, those are the things I want to go over in terms of the build that I showcased not too long ago. I think it was like last week. I wanted to put this video out a little bit sooner, but I realized I was approaching how to respond to this the wrong way. So I really wanted to take my time and sit here and go through this with you. I was testing this out when I had Foetracer, right? Even the damage buff of it went from, like, as you saw, like 20-some thousand to like 28,952. And I was like, that's nothing. What? I'm getting like a 2,000 and some change damage buff from using Foetracer, as opposed to, you know, maybe use like 1 or 2 surge mods, and like that's it. When I can use Oathkeeper, still use my 1 or 2 surge mods in my feet, and then just like call it a day. Like, granted, it does free up some surge mods here, but I don't know, man. It just didn't seem like the right play. Okay, I tested both builds. You will see on this channel now, I do have both builds up on the channel currently. So I do have Foetracer, which I thought was going to be like the peak thing. I theory crafted it beforehand. It was really, really good. Still is really, really good. It has a nice synergy, especially if you're going to utilize heavy with it. Or even something like one of the special weapons that has that perma ability one, where you just use your class ability and it changes your weapon to strand. Hey, by all means, go for it. That's going to be really good. Now, the only thing I will say that some like Oathkeepers do better on, especially in that Grandmaster Nightfall level content. If you're doing something like that, that will be fantastic. Oathkeeper's going to be definitely the play to go. If you want something quicker, faster, by all means use Foetracer. You'll get not as much of a damage, but at least you'll be able to create more tangles. I'm not sure. Well, you should, because before they didn't have this on the same cooldown timer as your actual inherent subclass, right? Now, what do I mean by that? Before, you create 2 tangles if you have Foetracer up. So you normally, if you create a tangle, right? Let's say we create a tangle right there. Normally we can do that. Let's see, I'm only at 26. Oh, they might have fixed it. But before, oh, no, it's right there. Before, you couldn't really create tangles like that outside of like the 10-second timer. Now when you have Foetracer on, you could create 2 tangles essentially within a 10-second timer, because both the Foetracer and your inherent subclass would be on separate timers. So you can essentially like bam, 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 like I think it's like within like 5 seconds of each other, because they'll both be on like 10-second-ish timers. So it's on like around 5 seconds of each other, you can create a tangle. It was pretty good. Sometimes you would just create tangles back to back. So you would kind of have them both sync up. You would create like, you'll shoot enemy A and enemy B, and both of them will have a tangle. You just sit here and pick it up and throw it or whatever. It's really good, right? Really, really good. And keep in mind with the Whirling Maelstrom that it's going to you can proc Foetracer with the Whirling Maelstrom, so it's really good on that front too. It's just really good all around as a good synergy exotic to pair with it. I even saw some people saying, oh, why use Foetracer with this build? It's be really good. You can, by all means, go ahead, do it. Change this stuff up to your liking. I give a good general basis how I like the build to be for me personally, because I see how some other people run their builds, and it's not to my particular liking, but hey, by all means they can do what they want, you know what I mean? But I try to min-max stuff here and there. That's why I like the purpose of my content. Like, hey, I'm a min-max it, try to really get the most out of it that I can, that I see the build really leaning towards, especially for quality life, for general play, for how you can scale this to carry people. How are we gonna now take this build into the dungeon, take this build into a raid or something like that? I'll say in the midst of doing a raid, not the actual boss battle of a raid. Don't use this during the boss battle, and probably unless you're using Foetracer, so you can at least get the heavy proc for it. But in terms of like a Nightfall, Grandmaster Nightfall, you know what I mean? Like stuff like that, where you're doing like the more top tier ends of PvE, it's fantastic for this. This is where this build is going to shine. This is where a lot of builds shine. If you want to take this in the coil will deal with this very lovely. Now I know I should have took this in the coil, and I said on the comment, I saw what they did about it. It's pretty good on the coil. I have done it. It's just not. Oh, see, you kind of saw two threadlings spawn from that. So that's good there too. You kind of see that now. But I didn't have time to do all that, and them to hear me in the chat and potentially mess it up and re-recording, because I did that another time. So we're just gonna skip all that. I'm gonna stop the video here. Is there any other questions, comments, or concerns? I know we've been going on for like 20-some minutes now. So hey, let me know in the comment section down below anything in regards to this build. If you want to know what the build looks like, it is right here. Okay, it's right here. You see all the perks, the mods, whatever. Okay, this is the build that we running. All right, so without further ado, y'all take care, y'all be easy, y'all be safe, peace and shalom.